So in this class, we are going to discuss about arrays. So we know how to store a value. Okay. So if you want to store a single value, single number value, we can use the integer variable and we store it. If you want to store a text, you can store it on a string. If you want to store a character, we can use a character data type and we can store it. Right. If you want to store a boolean value, we can use a boolean variable. So what if I want to store a set of integers? What if I want store set of boolean values? Okay. What if I want to store set of text values? Okay. So one of the solution is arrays. Arrays are basically is used to store a set of data of same type. Remember, used to store set of elements of same type. Okay, we can store set of integers, we can store set of boolean values, but we cannot store boolean and integer or integer and string. Okay, so that kind of combination doesn't work. Arrays allows only store set of elements of same type. So that's a definition of arrays, you can say. And arrays can be declared like this: int a array name, and after the name you have to use a square bracket. That's one thing, one way of declaration. The other way of declaration is this one: int, again brackets, after the brackets you can have a variable name or array name. Okay, so these are the two ways of declaring the arrays. And when it comes to the initialization or assignment, yes, you have to do like this: new, and the data type, that is int, and the size you have to give it. Okay, so why do we use new here? The reason is arrays is also an object. In order to create or construct an object, we use new keyword, right, earlier. In the same way, in order to create an array or construct an array, we have to use the new, and the syntax is data type, a variable name or array name, equal to new data type and size. Okay, so this part we call it as declaration. Once we declare, anytime anywhere we can initialize it. Okay, with this statement, if you want to do the declaration and assignment or initialization in a single line, yes, this is the way. Now we understood declaring an array and initializing an array. Let's talk about, you know, assigning some values to that array. Okay, so when I say the size of array is 5, okay, so in array the index start from 0, that is 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, so this is very important. 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, perfect. It's 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, and 3 index, and 4th index. Okay, but how many elements it can store? It can store, let's say, let's take some set of integer values: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, so it can store 5 numbers, it can store 5 elements, but starting from zeroth index. Okay, so this is very important. Arrays starts from the zeroth index, and it stores the given number of elements. Now we can see. Okay, so this is how we have to assign the values to it. The alternative way to create an array. So this is one way of creating an array and assigning the values to that array. Okay, so now we'll discuss about alternative way of creating an array. Okay, so if you see here, so the declaration part as it is, and when it comes to the initialization, we are assigning the values right away here. Okay, we are not specifying any size, we are not using the new keyword, without which if you want to create an array, yes, you can use in this format. Okay, so the syntax is this one. So like that you can give a number of values, it will allow and it will work. That's one thing. This anyway we just discussed in our diagram. So these are different ways of creating an array: for byte, for short, for long, float, double, boolean, char. You can create any kind of an array with the help of data type. So if you want to, at any point of time, if you want to know how many elements are there in an array, okay, so you can use array reference variable, that is you can also call it as array name dot length, will give you the number of elements which an array can be, which an array is stored right now. Okay, okay, so this is, let's say, earlier we have seen that we assigned 5 values to an array. Okay, let's say if an array is capable of storing 1 lakh elements, and if you want to initialize those 1 lakh elements, step by step or line by line, you have to write 1 lakh lines of code. Okay, so instead, if you are sure it is going to take a sequential numbers like 10, 20, 30 like that, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that, so it is recommended to use a for loop, so that with 3 lines of code you can able to assign 1 lakh elements. Okay, again, to retrieve the elements you can also use a for loop. Okay, let's see a practical example and we'll understand more deeper way. So before that, let me explain one thing. Let's say int a of equal to new int of 5 elements I have given. Let's give 3 elements. Okay, a of 0, 1, a of 1 will be 2, for example. A of 3, sorry, a of 2 equal to 3, for example. Now if I want to retrieve, important, so to initialize the values, to assign the values, we use a of 0, a of 1, a of 2 like this. Okay, so if I want to retrieve the value 2, if I want to retrieve, remember and concentrate, if I want to retrieve the value 2, I have to say a of 1 will be returning the value 2 for me. Okay, you can use like this directly, or you can say int a1 equal to a of 2. Okay, sorry, a of 1, because you wanted to get the number 2. Okay, and you can also print a1 like this. Okay, anything is okay. Let's create a package, new com.java example. We are working on Java example, and the package we already having is a Selenium example. So that is the reason I just created a new package. If any default class is created, just remove it, which we don't require. Create a new class, say array example. Let's take a main method. Let's take an array int. You can give any name. I just given ARR, new int of. Let's take 5. Now ARR of 0 equal to 1, ARR of 1 equal to 2, ARR of 2 equal to 3, ARR of 3 equal to 4, ARR of 4 equal to 5. Okay, that's perfect. Now let's print all this stuff once again. If you want to retrieve the data, you have to use again with the index ARR of 0. Okay, and we have to change the index, otherwise every time we print the ARR of 0, that is 1. Okay, let's run it and see. Okay, now we can see whatever we initialized, it is stored, and the same is printed here. Okay, that's well and good. Now it's just 5 elements. This is well and good. If I want to, you know, initialize this one with the for loop, how we can do that? This is also very important. What we are going to discuss is initializing and retrieving using for loop. Okay, you can also any loop, so I'm using for loop, which is very simple. Okay, I know the index starts from 0, that's the reason I used 0, and how many times I have to repeat. Right now I know the size, I can say 5 times. Okay, but if you doesn't know where an array is declared, but you only know a array reference variable, so in that case you have to use a variable called length. Okay, by using the array object, we can able to call its methods and variables. Okay, in the same way we are calling. So array dot length is going to give the number of elements available in the array, and increment it. Now of we use I, because I will be incremented from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 4. So it gives array dot length gives 5. Okay, and 5 less than 5 will fail, so it will only store from 0 to 4. So this particular condition also very important when you are making it, otherwise I will show you what happens. So it's a year of 0, right? let's declare another let's declare another array instead of the same array. Let's declare another array. This time take array of 2, array of 2 I equal to, you can also do like this, you can also simply assign the I, or you can also do into 10, so that we can store 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. It says inside. Okay, let's save it. Okay, and this is for storing, we not yet printed any value. Okay, this for loop is for retrieving. So for retrieving, the only way is use the index year I, year 2 of 5. Okay, so just to avoid confusion, let's comment this code. We have to refer the array of 2. Okay, let's run it and see. Okay, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever we stored, we are able to retrieve it. So let's say we know the index starts from 0 and ends at 4. Okay, 0 to 4. Now if I try to access a index of 5, okay, if I use this loop, this array dot length will give me a 5, number 5, because we are storing 5 elements. And if it goes 5 less than or equal to 5 also passes. And if I try to store a fifth element, okay, which is not supported, because we are capable to store only 5 elements. Let's see now what happens. So it's nothing but I'm trying to keep a value at fifth index. It says that java.lag array index out of bound exception 5. Okay, if you can increase one more step, it will work. If we can increase one more value, it will work. The reason is why,
I think because we have given equal to there, I is less than or equal to.
okay, it always fail. Yes, you are right. Yes, exactly, this always fail. Okay, so the funda is less than only. Okay, so yeah, so if I give 6 here, no matter if it is equal here, okay, no matter whether you give 6 or 7 or 8, whatever it is. Okay, so because we always try to access the sixth index. If I give 7 here, we always try to at the end we always try to access the seventh index. Okay, the index start from 0 for the element 7. For 7 elements, the index starts from 0 and ends at 6. And if you are trying to access the seventh index, which is not created in the array, and it will fail. Okay, I hope Swati you understood, and Victoria also you understood.
Yeah, Sudhir.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, let's remove this equal. Okay, so this is a very important condition in arrays when it comes to the arrays. Let's see anything else in arrays. Okay, okay, one more thing. Let's say if I want to, let's say I have created a array here. Okay, and I wanted to do all these stuffs in a new method, public void array, array single dimension array example. Okay, and int of AR2. Okay, now I have created an array here, and I have to invoke this single dimension array example, and I have to pass this array to here. Okay, so if I want to call a method, what I have to do, I have to create an object for the class. What is this class? Array example. Array example ex equal to new, and ex start single dimension array. Let's change the name here. Anything, you can give the same name or different name. Okay, I just giving ARR. When I call this one, it will comes to here, and it will receive the integer array from here, and I'm running now. Okay, you can able to see that. Let's do one thing. Okay, so after printing, change the array to index 2. What will be there in the index 2? Any guess? First, in the 0th index 0 will be there, and in the first index 10, in the second index 20 will be there, right? So keep it 200. So let's print here. Here the array is ARR, right? Here the array reference is ARR, not ARR2. Now tell me, these many things are not required. I just wanted to print the array of. What happens now? Can anybody guess this? So what will be printed here? Any guess, Swati?
The value from second index. Hello?
What is that?
Second index 0, 1, 1, 2. 3. The value 3.
Where are we assigning 3? First of all,
Now it will, yeah, still in the array. Actually, later we have given array 2 is 200, the last step.
okay,
So I'm not sure whether it can print before assigning the value.
okay, yeah, I understood. Let's run this. I'll give you the. I will explain in proper manner. Now you can see it is printed 200, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing we need to understand is, okay, here it is referring an array. So this array name is something which refers an array object, right? There is a there is a array object which is already created in the memory, and this ARR is referring to it. That's
Yeah.
one thing. Okay, and the same ARR I'm passing here. Here I'm initializing some data, and I'm printing, and I'm modifying that array. Okay, and this ARR or this AR2 both are pointing to the same array. Understood?
Yeah.
So in the, let's say a array is created. Okay, assume this is a memory, and this particular array is pointed out by ARR, right? In the very beginning. Okay, it is pointed out by ARR in the very beginning. Now this ARR, okay, yeah. So when I say reference variable ARR, which is reference to the array which is created in the memory, and this also will have some address. Okay, this also will have some address in the memory. So let's say it is 100, and this address you are passing to here to ARR2, and from now onwards ARR2 also ARR2 also will refers to the same array. Okay, both ARR and ARR2 refers to the same object, same array object, and this array object got changed. Okay, whose second index value got changed to 200, right? And using the ARR, which is pointing to the same array object, and I'm printing the second index, the value will be 200. Okay, so here I'm just passing the references. Here just I'm passing the reference, and both of the reference will pointing to the same array object. Okay, so we need to very much clear on this. So here when I pass a array ARR whose address is 100, okay, and ARR2 will be receiving that address, and now ARR2 also will be pointing out to the same object. Okay, so here one thing you need to be clear that both ARR and AR2 are pointing to the same array object. So modifying to the AR2 is nothing but modifying an array object, and that is also pointed out by ARR. Okay, so this one you need to be clear, so not very strange here. So only thing we need to remember, both this ARR and AR2 both are referring to the same object. Modifying with ARR or AR2 reflecting in the same object. Okay, so when I say ARR will be containing some address. Okay, so this address is nothing but the address of array object. This address is nothing but, if you try to print ARR, it will print some address, okay, some number or something else. Okay, so it's nothing but it's a address of object. Okay, and this address of object you are passing to the ARR2. Now from now onwards AR2 will also be containing the same address. The address is nothing but the object which is already created in the memory. Okay, so if you have any, if it leads to any confusion, just remember both ARR and AR2 refers to the same object, referring to no, modifying the object using the AR2 or ARR will be modifying the same object. Okay, remember that. So yeah, any
So
question? Yeah.
yeah, uh, you gave that system out println before the public void statement, right? Can we give that statement like after array two is equal to 200?
Yeah, we can give. Here also I'm giving. Okay, But here I have to use ARR2, right? I don't know what is ARR. I have to do AR2, right?
Mhm.
Let's run it. Now you have to see two 200s.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, that's one thing. Fine. Okay, let's talk about double dimension arrays, which we are not going to use anywhere, but we'll just have a small knowledge on it. Okay, so if you want to define a, okay, if you want to define a double dimension array, you have to define like this. So earlier, for a single dimension array, we use one single square brackets. For double dimension array, we have to use two square brackets, and we also have to specify a row and column. Okay, so double dimension arrays are looks like matrix. It stores in a kind of matrix format. Okay, so not specifying rows and column, not specifying rows and column is not correct. You have to specify at least a row. Column is not mandatory. At least you have to specify a row, number of rows. Okay, that's one thing you need to remember. Let's say I'm going to create an array, two-dimensional array with number of rows are 10 and number of rows are 5. Okay, it's a very big array. So let's take an example of creating a double dimension array with 3 by 2, 3 rows and 2 columns. Okay, if you want to create a two-dimensional array, so 10 by 5 is very big, 10 rows and 5 columns are very big. Just for the example, I'm going to take a 3 by 2 3 by 2 array, that is nothing but 3 rows, 3 rows and 2 columns, right? And the row starts from 0th index, again here also 1 index, 2 index. Okay, and the column also starts from 0. If you want to initialize, yeah, if you want to initialize any array cell, okay, let's say a array is int arr equal to new int 3 rows and 2 columns, right? Let's say you have defined like this, you have defined an array like this. Okay, now you want to initialize these array, initialize this array. Okay, here of 0th row and 0th column I want to initialize 10. Okay, now it becomes 10, it will be having a value 10. And array of, first of all, how many elements I can store? Let's give a try and tell me.
6.
Exactly. How can you say that?
Because I took rows and columns, it makes like 6
Yeah.
boxes. So
Okay. Exactly. Okay. Exactly. Okay. So, and other way of knowing the things is 3 into 2, right?
yeah.
Yeah. That is also one simple way to calculate. If I give, if I try to give AR of 1 and 2, what happens? First row and second column, second index column. What happens? Any guesses?
Can you repeat it?
First row and second column, second index column, second index column. One of two, 1, 2.
It's 60.
Not like that. Let's okay. Wait a second. I will ask you one more thing.
Sure.
Okay, here of two of two. Now what is the? Can I give 70 here? Is it okay?
No, it will show an error.
What error?
We'll be giving the additional value.
Exactly, which does not exist in the memory, right?
Mm.
Which is not exist in our array memory, right? And it's going to give array index out of bound exception. Okay, so this is fine, right? Let's fill the values. 1 of 0, this one 30, and 1 of 1, what? 1 of 1, this one 40, and 2 of 1 is what? I'm going randomly. 2 of 1 is what? This is 2, and the column is 160, right? And 2 of 0, 50, and this is called 0 1. 0 through first column, 0 1 is 20. Understood? Okay, so if you want to print it again, how do you do that? If I want to print a 2 of 1, 6 out a or a 2 of 1. Okay, that's it. Okay, and if you want to use the for loop, you have to use two for loops. Okay, you have to use two for loops. One is for repeating the rows, and one is for repeating the columns. Okay, so let's try this example at your end, and understood it. It's very simple. Let's use the same and run it. You can able to understand it. Okay, so that's about two-dimensional array. Do not worry, we will not be using anywhere, but for our there is a double dimensional array exists, we are lending it, that's it. Okay, and there is three triple dimensional array also there, we can use it. Okay, so that's about arrays.